everybody, welcome to my kitchen today. We are going to make something really old school, traditional, and simple, something that you can throw together, no joke, 10 minutes you can throw it together, let it cook for a little while, you got dinner. But not a lot of work, but a lot of tastiness and a lot of warmth. So anyway, today we're making escarole and beans. Some people refer to it as greens and beans. You don't have to use escarole, although escarole, escarole, as they say in the dialect, escarole. It's a fun word to say. Escarole. Anyway, we are going to make this, and like I said, you can use other greens. You could use kale. You could use Swiss chard. You could use, I don't know, spinach is kind of limpy, but anyway. You can use other greens, and at the same time, you get all those wonderful vitamins and that warmth and coziness that this kind of dish brings you. Some people make this kind of thick, so it's more just the greens and beans, like kind of a hearty, almost stewy kind of thing. And some people make it as a soup. So you can do it however you like. These are the kind of dishes that you don't learn the recipe, you just learn, you throw the stuff together, and voila, you've got something awesome. So let's get started with our escarole and beans. Now, I'm going to get started with cutting up an onion. One of the things I want to say before I get started, actually, before I cut this onion. So my beans have been soaking, so they are ready to go. The only thing you might want to take the time, you can use canned beans. If you use canned beans, use organic ones, and make sure, read the label, make sure it's only beans, water, and salt. If it has anything else in it besides beans, water, and salt, do not buy those beans in a can. Okay, canned beans, I always have some for when I need them in a quick. Sometimes I'm in a hurry and I just want to throw something in a soup. When I'm making the clean refrigerator soup and I want to throw something else a little heavy in it, I'll throw some beans in from the can real quick. But if you have the time and you think of it ahead, the night before or even in the morning, just stick your beans in the water. Put them on, what I do is I turn them on hot and then I let them soak. And then just turn it off and let them soak. You can also let them soak in cold water overnight, then turn them on in the morning. Okay, so I've got, I think it's about 2 or 3 cups of beans. These are cannellini beans. The other ones I like to use are the white northern beans. They're a little smaller. Those are good also. Okay, the other thing is that this is a soup that you can make with water. Any soup can be made with water, which I have right here. A lot of people will use broth. Now, if you stick with water or vegetable broth, you have a vegan dish. You can use chicken broth. You can use whatever kind of broth you want. Beef broth, vegetable broth, chicken broth. Most people will use chicken or vegetable broth that you can get out of a box if you're in a hurry, or if you have some that you made yourself and you have in the freezer, chicken broth. I do that all the time. Or you can have vegetable broth. If you don't have any broth, you can still make this soup because you can make your own. This is not typical of the recipe, but most of your vegetable broths are based in carrot, celery, and onions. As I drop the peel. Okay, so anyway, this is your base for just about anything. So if you don't have broth and you want to use something to give it a little bit more flavor, then you can always finely chop, or you can cut it bigger, it doesn't matter, it's up to you. Maybe 1 or 2 carrots. I would just say 1 of each, just to give it that extra flavor. 1 carrot, 1 celery. You're already putting onion in here. These are just options for you, because when I'm teaching you a recipe, I don't want to have to give you an exact recipe that if you don't have a piece, okay, I can't make that recipe, I'm missing broth. Well, you don't need it. You can make any soup with water, and it's what you put in it that makes the broth. So I don't know why everybody thinks they have to put chicken broth or vegetable broth in it. It does intensify the flavor sometimes, but if you cook it right and you put the right ingredients in, you don't need it. Anyway, okay. So my beans are ready. I do have a little bit of vegetable broth there, and what I will share with you is more just to show you and explain to you different things. Now, sometimes I make my own. You can make your own little vegetable cubes and throw them in the freezer. Those are awesome. I'm out of those right now. I do bring home bouillon cubes from Italy that don't have any MSG in them. So I had some vegetable bouillon. I made one cube. This is what that looks like, 1 cube. I did make one little cup and a half of that. So I'm going to do mostly water. I'll throw that in, but this is all just to show you the options you have when making a dish. Okay, so back to escarole and beans. All right, let's straighten the apron and let's get rolling. Okay, so we're going to start with, I'm going to turn my pot on to warm up. Okay, so I'm going to put in, this onion wasn't that big, so I'm going to go ahead and put in a whole onion. You can put in whatever you want. You can go half an onion to a whole onion. You definitely need the onion. Some people will cut it and dice it little teeny. I kind of like it in thin strips. It kind of goes with, I like things to be similar, you know, and so it goes with the escarole. So anyway, you can do it either way. You can cut them this way when you're making long strips, or you can cut it the other way. Some people like to do it this way. And you get the different shaped strip. They're less round. They're more elongated. I'm going to do it that way today because I want it to kind of, and I'm making them kind of thin. Okay. They're pretty that way. I'm going to do this one. Okay. My favorite tool. Scoop this stuff up. All right, so I've got my pan getting hot. This is a nice heavy-duty cast iron enamel cast iron pan. You can use any pot you want. You can use a regular, typical metal pot. I'm putting a good, it wasn't much, probably 3 tablespoons. Good, maybe not even. It's a nice coating on the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to start cooking up my onions. Oh yeah, hear the sizzle? Sizzle! Boom. And let them, let's see, we'll use the long spoon. Break them up. Now, again, if you don't like long stringy pieces of onion, cut it up the way you like. This is your recipe. Like I said, some people cut them up in little teeny pieces and want it to kind of dissolve into the soup, and some want it to kind of go in there. I like it with the escarole. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, sip time. No, it's not alcoholic. It's just Pellegrino. Okay, we're going to throw in some garlic. I'm going to pop one out. Oh, there it is. Okay, I heard it move, but I didn't see where it went. Okay, love starting a new head of garlic. I know, some people have them already out and ready to go. Not me. I want to do it with you. So I'm going to cut the end off. Oops, I didn't even cut the end off. I missed it. There we go. So I got some nice ones. Now, you know, this time of year, we're getting closer to the end of the last year's garlic harvest. So I find that it's this time of year that more often do I find them with the little green, you know, shoot in the middle. Pull it out. I think it makes them more bitter. That's a nice one. But this one, there's a little green piece in the middle. Let's throw one more in. So you can make this as garlicky as you want. I've seen people put like 8-10 cloves of garlic in here. I don't know. Garlic is a big part of the flavor, but I don't know if you really need all that much. So I'm going to do, let's see. And I'm not making this big a pot as I often do because it's just Pasquale and I, like I said. All right, so I'm just going to kind of rough chop them because I like chunks of garlic. Not everybody does, but Pasquale and I do. So you can finely chop it. Now, I always put the garlic in a little bit after the onions because the onions always take a little longer to cook. I'm going to stick that in the middle. I've made a little space for an extra little dab of oil in on top of the garlic. Okay, now the fun part. Let's put my good garlic back there and all my pieces over here. Wow, I just made a big mess. All garlic and onion skins. We'll push them in there. Okay. Now, the important part. Well, there's a lot of important part. Actually, I'm going to show you something real quick. I left these out. This is another bag of my dried cannellini beans. So Bob's Red Mill does make some heritage beans. They call them like kidney beans here or cannellini beans. So you can get these. Just look for them. Again, those and the white northern beans make a great, great soup. Okay. Oh, you know, just like Pasquale always says, there's something about as soon as you just start cooking, sauteing garlic and olive oil and onions or whatever, onions and garlic make the best flavors. Okay, so anyway, makes the house smell good, makes it lived in. Here we go, some nice escarole I just got at the store. I had two of them. I cut one of them up already, but I'm going to show you how I cut this very quickly. So let's see if I'm not going to block myself there. I am. Let's put this back here for a minute. Okay, so now there's a couple ways to cut your escarole. You can take it one leaf at a time, like the old ladies do in Italy, and you can just, you know, cut it and put it in here, like this. And this is how my grandmother used to cut up everything. Or, so you can use your cool little knife, or the knife that, like my grandmother always used a knife about this size. Loved it. She wore the heck out of it. Or you can just cut the end off, which you definitely want to do. And, you know, she would cut it down to every last little piece off of here. You know, she cut the end off or whatever, but cut every last little bite. Now, just so you know, I washed these like 3 times in that giant bowl. You want to wash it, rinse it, because escarole for some reason will get a lot of dirt up here up the veins. So you want to make sure it's sand or dirt. Now, I want to show you something real quick. I'm going to turn that down for a second. The inner leaves of the escarole in here, these are the tender ones, and a lot of people in Italy will use this for a salad. Okay, they're much more tender and less bitter. You have that little bitterness to them, but I like it. So you can use the inner leaves, especially. Mix it in with your salad like you would arugula or something like that, like kind of with a tossed salad. Very nice. Anyway, these are nice and clean. I'm just double checking them before I start cutting them up, that I don't have to wash them again. Or you can just do them this way. You know, I like to cut them, you know, not too big, because then you don't have like this big mouthful of, you know, straining it all. Okay, so we have all of this all ready to roll, already washed. You can wash it whole, like I did, or you can cut it up like this and rinse it a couple of times in a big bowl. You can do the big bowl and dump out the water. You can use the best way to do it, put a colander in the bowl, fill it up, wash it, then you lift up this stuff and all the dirt comes out from underneath. So a lot of good ways to do things, very simple. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, and what's really nice is this escarole is nice and wet. So I'm just throw a little more oil in here because I've got more escarole. Once I cut it all up, it looks like more than I thought. So I'm going to take this here. This is nice and turn it up a little bit, because watch. So when you put this wet escarole in there, it's going to go psst, it's going to splatter, so be careful. That's why I always kind of put a big handful in it first, because it kind of covers it all up. Okay, well I didn't have it too hot, so that's good. Can you hear it? If you have it too hot, you really shouldn't use it too hot. If you have it too hot, it does splatter, and that's not healthy for your oil either. So some water in the bottom there. Put this all in. See how it's high enough to be over the top? Look at this. That's so pretty. Okay. And now, I'm going to, well actually, what I'm going to do first is kind of toss this stuff around, because I like it to get a little bit oiled. Not that it really matters. I mean, I just like to go from top to bottom. It wilts so quickly. So just by its nature, you see in Italian, we don't really have recipes that are vegan, vegano, vegetariano, vegetarian. We just have dishes that just so happen, because by their nature happen to be vegetarian or vegan. They just fall into those categories. But that doesn't mean that they go out of their way to do that. So this dish, as I'm making it today, is vegan, vegetarian, and just plain old good for everybody. But it's not made to be that way, so to speak. It's not meant to be in a category. It's meant to be, the category it's in is yummy Italian food. So anyway, nonna food. So anyhow, but another really great way to use this, to put in, another great thing to put in here rather, is like if I could have sauteed up some pancetta or a little bit of sausage and then put that in here together. Oh, that's good. Today I'm making it plain. We've had a lot of meat the past few days, so we are going to just have it be its normal self with just the vegetables. All right, so they're starting to wilt. They're already down here at the halfway mark. So I'm gonna lift it all the way up here to be seen. You can see how they're getting limpy. Boop. Okay, so I'm gonna throw the beans in here, and then we're gonna throw the broth in. And I'll tell you something. There's no order. You can put the beans in first. You can put, and it doesn't matter if you get some of the juice, because this was just salted water. And if you had canned ones also, if there's a little bit, if they are good, only salted water. Now, because that's all this was, I'm going to put just a smidge of this to add it to my broth. But it's got a little thickness to it, you'll see. Okay? And I know that I just started with water, so, and salt. Oops, there's still more down there. More beans. There we go. One more. And then I'm going to go ahead, oh yeah. Now because I salted the beans, and because bouillon usually has a little bit of salt in it, and honestly I can't remember if this one has salt in it. Oh, look at this. It's already pretty. Look how bright green they are. They are going to get a little darker because I'm going to throw some of this. This is like 1.5 cups of broth. Okay. And I'm going to throw in a little bit of water. I like it as a soup, and so does Pasquale. He loves soup. So I'm making it a thick, hearty soup. So now the only seasoning, so this is just going to cook. I'm going to bring it to a boil and let it cook for a while. The only seasonings it needs, now what you would need to do is test it, because make sure it's not too, well, it's not too hot yet. Actually, that doesn't need, wow, between the salt that I put in the beans and the teeny bit of the bouillon, I don't think it needs any salt. If I'm going to put one little pinch. This is my fancy sea salt. That's not really sea salt. And I'm going to put in some pepper because I like black pepper. The other thing I'm going to throw in, which I could have thrown in with the olive oil, or I can throw in now, is I'm going to put in a pinch of hot pepper. Actually, I'm going to put in 2 pinches because I'm in the mood today. And again, oops. That's when I sipped out of it. That's okay, just us. Oh. And that's it. That's all that goes in here. It's so simple. So when you get down to it, we've got olive oil, onions, and garlic. Now, I have to tell you, some people only do onions, and some people only do garlic. So really, truly, it's up to you. I like them both. Okay, but you don't, if you do any, I would, if I had to do one over the other, I'd probably do the garlic. But I don't do one over the other. I have both, always. So anyhow, so garlic and or onion, sauteed in olive oil. You got your beans, you got your cut up cleaned fresh escarole, and whatever seasoning. Salt, pepper, salt only if you need it. Test it first, if depending on the broth or the water. If you use water, you definitely need some salt. If you use a little broth, depending if it's low sodium or whatever, obviously taste it first before you add salt. Always taste before you salt. And then, of course, pepper, hot pepper, and that's it. If you so choose to add pancetta or sausage or anything like that, cook it up first. Pancetta I would put right in the pot and cook it up, you know, depending if it's little small pieces, if it's a lot. If it's a lot, makes a lot of grease, I might take some of it out with a, you know, a little paper towel or something. Sausage, if I put sausage in, same thing, you can cook it up in the bottom, or if you want to make it tasty but a little leaner, you can cook up the sausage or the pancetta separate and then throw it in, but honestly, you're kind of taking away the flavor when you do that. But, that's it. Well, this is almost to a boil, and I want it to cook a little bit because I want the little pepper flakes kind of to, the flavor to permeate the whole thing. Now, once we serve this, a little bit of fresh grated pecorino romano cheese on top. Yum. That's all you need. It's a very quick and simple dish. So let me just show you. Now, one last thing, how long to cook it? It's up to you. Okay, so let me, actually, I got all these utensils out today. These pieces here that have the stem, or the spine, okay, they're not really tough, but they're a little tougher, obviously, than a mushy leaf. That's good. There you go. See how this is all nice and, soft? Okay. So, it's up to you. You can make it a little bit more al dente and leave them not quite mushy, or you can cook it longer and it's more, it's softer and, less to chew, so to speak. So that's fully up to you how you want it. Right now, by the time this comes to a boil and say it cooks for, 10 minutes at the most, it's ready to go. This is probably just about ready to go as it is. But look at this. Isn't that beautiful? But for me, I'd rather, I want it to cook for about 10 minutes. And then from there, in a beautiful bowl, and you have a beautiful lunch. So, and now, of course, some people add some pasta to it. If you want something heartier midday or something, you could always put it over pasta, but most people don't. But it wouldn't kill you if you did. So anyway, if you're watching, tell me where you're watching from. Send me some love there. Send me some hearts. I want to see those things going. Please like and share these videos. I really appreciate it. Anybody who wants to know where I got this pot, this is a Pampered Chef pot. And if you need anything like this, send me a direct message because I sell Pampered Chef. And so there you go. I've got it for you if you want it. I'm telling you, I love this thing. It's beautiful. I love the blue. They have gray. Also, the gray's are really pretty. But anyway, so I will see you guys next time when we cook something else for you to make in your home, to bring your family to the table. Simple things, quick things, but actually truly authentic things, because Italian cooking is actually very simple. It's more about the proper ingredients than it is putting 27 spices in it to say, oh, this is Italian. No. Ooh, hear the boil? Woo, woo. Oh, wow. This smells so good. Look at that. I'm just going to make a little bowl. To show you. This is just what it looks like. Look at this. Can you see it? Look at it. Oops, I'm going to spill the juice out. That's all I need. There you go. But anyway, it's just beautiful. So, I hope that you will enjoy making this. And please take pictures, post them under this video, let me know what you see, what you like, and if you have any, tell me how you make it. I showed you one way, I told you about a bunch of different other ways, so, share with me and let me know how you did it and how you liked it. Okay, ciao tutti.